PlayStation versus Xbox. Is the console war ending? Welcome back to the Tech Bowl. Today, we're diving into one of gaming's biggest questions. Do you really need an Xbox in 2025? Or is the PlayStation 5 still the king of consoles? Over the last few months, Xbox has gone through some major changes. Changes that might just end this so-called console war altogether. So, in this video, we're going to break it all down. The games, both exclusive and cross-platform, subscription services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, accessories like controllers and VR, and of course, the prices. By the end, you'll know which console makes the most sense to own in 2025. But before we get started, let me know down in the comments, which console do you currently own? And what games are you playing the most right now? Alright, let's jump in. Starting with the most important factor, the games. The games, still the deciding factor? For decades, the biggest reason to pick one console over the other was the games. Back in 2023, I said that 99% of games people actually played, like Call of Duty, Fortnite, Battlefield, Cyberpunk, were available on both platforms. And that's still true today. If all you care about are those massive multi-platform titles, it honestly doesn't matter whether you buy a PlayStation or an Xbox. You'll get essentially the same experience. But here's where it gets interesting. Exclusives. Traditionally, exclusives sold consoles. So if you wanted Spider-Man, God of War, or The Last of Us, you needed a PlayStation. If you wanted Halo, Forza, or Gears of War, you needed an Xbox. That was the rule, but 2025 has flipped that rule on its head. Over the last year, Xbox has been moving a surprising number of its exclusives over to PlayStation. Forza Horizon 5, a flagship Xbox game, is now available on PlayStation 5. Other Xbox staples like Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Oblivion Remastered have also jumped ship. And just recently, Microsoft confirmed that Gears of War Reloaded will launch on PlayStation 5 at the exact same time as Xbox. No delays, no waiting. That's huge. And it's not just about availability. Many of these titles even benefit from PlayStation's DualSense features and PS5 Pro enhancements, making them arguably better to play on PlayStation than on their home turf. So, back to the question, do you need an Xbox in 2025? If your main concern is access to games, the answer is increasingly leaning towards no. Of course, if you're a die-hard fan of PlayStation exclusives, Spider-Man, Horizon, God of War, you already know where you belong. But the fact that Xbox is sending so many of its big hitters over to PlayStation completely changes the equation. Game Pass versus PlayStation Plus. Now, these games aren't just about where they launch. They're also about how you play them. And that's where Game Pass and PlayStation Plus come in. If you buy all your games outright, these subscription services won't make much of a difference to you. But for the players who like the idea of paying monthly to access a library, the story changes. Let's start with PlayStation Plus. Depending on the tier, you get access to hundreds of games, including heavy hitters like Spider-Man, God of War, Days Gone, and many more. You also get classic PS1 and PS2 games. And every month, 3 new games are added to the library for free. Sounds solid, right? The catch is that PlayStation doesn't put brand new exclusives on PS Plus right away. If you wanted to play Spider-Man 2 at launch, you have to buy it separately. Game Pass, on the other hand, changes the game completely. Xbox titles like Indiana Jones, Forza, and the upcoming Gears of War Reloaded drop on Game Pass day one, no extra cost. That's a massive advantage. So if you're the type of gamer who plays a lot of titles but doesn't want to spend $70 each time, Game Pass offers an incredible value. Download 2 or 3 big games in a year and you've already paid for your subscription. And here's the kicker. You don't even need an Xbox to use Game Pass anymore. It works on phones, tablets, smart TVs, you name it. That means you can own a PS5, install Game Pass on your TV, and effectively have access to both ecosystems without buying 2 consoles. Pretty wild, right? Quick pause here. If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the Tech Bowl for more deep dives into gaming and tech. We've got a ton of content coming that you won't want to miss. Alright, let's move on to another big factor, controllers and accessories. Controllers, Xbox versus DualSense. Even 4 years into this generation, there's still a clear divide between the controllers. The Xbox controller feels familiar. It's basically a refined version of the Xbox One controller. Great battery life, asymmetrical thumbsticks, and tons of customization options through the Xbox Design Lab. If you love picking your own color scheme, Xbox One's here. But then you've got DualSense controllers for PS5. With haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, it delivers more of an immersive experience. Play Astro's Playroom or Horizon with it, and you'll see how it can completely change the way a game feels. Of course, both consoles have a Pro controller, the DualSense Edge for PlayStation, and the Elite Series 2 for Xbox. They cost extra, but if you want paddles, instant triggers, and premium build quality, they're worth it. Personally, I lean towards the DualSense because of the symmetrical layout and the immersive features. But the truth is, both companies now have third-party options too. So whether you prefer symmetrical or asymmetrical sticks, you can still set things up the way you like. VR and remote play. This is where PS5 really pulls ahead. Sony has the PS VR 2, a headset that unlocks dedicated VR titles like Horizon Call of the Mountain, along with hybrid games like Gran Turismo 7. Xbox, meanwhile, has no native VR support whatsoever. Then there's remote play. Both consoles let you stream your games to your phone, tablet, or handhelds, but Sony has the PlayStation Portal, a dedicated accessory built just for PS5 streaming. After a rough launch, it now works not only with your console, but also with PS Plus streaming. That's a big win for PlayStation players who like gaming on the go. Price. Which one fits your budget? Pricing is always a huge factor. Xbox Series S, the cheapest option. Lower specs, no disk drive, but affordable at around $379. Xbox Series X, the powerhouse. 4K, 120 FPS, disk drive included. Priced around $599 after recent increases. On the PlayStation side, PS5 Digital, $450, no disk drive. PS5 Disc Edition, $500, same specs but with a physical media support. PS5 Pro, $699, offering improved visuals and performance. So, Xbox gives you a budget-friendly entry with Series S, but PlayStation offers more variety, including the high-end Pro model. So, do you need an Xbox in 2025? If you'd asked me this a few years ago, I might have said the choice between PS5 and Xbox was a matter of preference. But in 2025, the lines aren't so blurry anymore. Microsoft's strategy isn't about selling hardware. It's about making sure as many people as possible play Xbox games, whether that's on an Xbox, PlayStation, a PC, or even your smart TV. That's why so many former exclusives are crossing over. Which means the question isn't really which console is better, but rather which ecosystem do you want to be in. For most players, the PlayStation 5 just makes more sense. You get the best exclusives, DualSense immersion, VR, the PlayStation Portal, and now access to most Xbox titles too. Unless you're locked into Game Pass and love renting your games, the PlayStation 5 is more of a complete package. That said, I'm not selling my Xbox. Game Pass is still incredible, and for many people, it's the single biggest reason to stick with Microsoft. Final thoughts. So, is the console war ending? Honestly, yes, at least in a traditional sense. With the cross-platform games, Xbox titles launching on PS5, and Game Pass available almost everywhere, the days of picking sides are fading fast. But if you could only choose one console today, I'd recommend the PS5. It simply gives you more options, more features, and more reasons to play in one place. Now, I want to hear from you. If you could only buy one console in 2025, which one would it be? PlayStation 5 or Xbox? Drop your answers in the comments below with a PS5 versus Xbox, and I'll give it a thumbs up for making it this far in the video. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future videos here on the Tech Bowl. Up next, check out my video on the ultimate gaming setup. I think you'll love it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.